Hey guys, tonight we're traveling far, really far back in time. Before coffee existed, before anyone said breakfast is the most important meal of the day, there were Aztec farmers waking up beside a lake that no longer exists. You open your eyes to the soft gray shimmer of dawn over Lake Texcoco. The air is thin, crisp, and just a little smoky. Somewhere nearby, a woman flips a pat of maize dough on a hot stone. Steam rises, carrying the smell of toasted corn and wet earth. You probably won't survive this. I mean, you wouldn't last 10 minutes hauling mud to build a floating garden before sunrise. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit up in a reed hut that creaks as the wind slides across the marsh. Your hands are calloused from yesterday's labor, and your stomach growls the way it does every morning, like the lake itself rumbling below. The city is waking up around you, canoes slapping the water, dogs barking, someone calling out about fish for trade. Before the first rays of sunlight even touch the temples of Tenochtitlán, the farmers are already out in their chinampas, floating fields stitched together from reeds, soil, and lake sediment. You balance on a wooden plank between rows of green maize shoots, still wet from the mist. The water reflects your face in silver ripples. Somewhere out there, a heron lifts off, white wings cutting through fog. This is your morning world, half land, half water, and breakfast is waiting back home. A bowl of atole, warm corn gruel. It's thick, creamy, and slightly smoky from the fire. Historians still argue whether the first Aztecs drank it thin, like soup, or thick, almost pudding-like. Either way, it's the same comfort every farmer craves before a long day in the fields. You stir it slowly, feeling the heat seep into your hands. The funny thing? You've been eating this same meal for years, and yet each morning it feels brand new. Maybe it's the texture, smooth and grainy. Maybe it's that faint tang from the lime-treated corn. Or maybe it's just that your body knows this is survival disguised as breakfast. Without it, there's no strength to plant, no energy to row, no reason to rise. The city hums awake like a living organism. The grinding of metats, the crackle of wood fires, the laughter of kids chasing ducks along the canals. You take your first sip of atole, a taste halfway between porridge and tea. You close your eyes. It's simple, but it's life itself. No fancy spices, no sugar, just maize, water, and the quiet pride of people who built floating farmland in the middle of a lake. A neighbor waves from her canoe, teasing, "Still drinking your breakfast, lazy one?" You grin. She's rowing off to market with baskets of flowers. You pretend not to be jealous, but you are. As you watch the light grow golden, you realize, this is the rhythm of the Aztec dawn. Before the empires, before the conquistadors, there were mornings like this. Calm, ordinary, beautiful. The sun edges higher. You finish your bowl, wipe your hands on your tunic, and grab your paddle. The day has begun, and breakfast, forgotten by history but remembered by your body, has done its quiet job. The hum of the market begins long before you see it. You can hear it from across the canals. Thousands of voices weaving into one low, endless vibration. The city of Tlatelolco is stirring awake, and the smell of breakfast has followed the sound. You push your canoe off from the shore, letting the paddle dip into the silver water. The mist has lifted now, revealing the reflection of temples, terraces, and banners fluttering with the first golden light. You row toward the largest marketplace in the known world. It's not an exaggeration. Spanish chroniclers would later write, with wide eyes and scribbling hands, that over 60,000 people gathered here daily. You, of course, don't count. You just know it's crowded enough to lose your paddle in. As you arrive, the scene opens like a tapestry, traders yelling prices, children darting between baskets of maize, women balancing clay pots of atole on their heads. The smell of roasted chili, honey, and cacao competes for your attention. Somewhere close, someone cracks a joke about last night's rain, and everyone laughs too loudly. Breakfast here isn't eaten quietly. It's a social event. You step onto the stone walkway and immediately someone tries to sell you tamales wrapped in green corn husks. They're still warm. You hesitate. Should you save your coins for later? Too late. The vendor grins, opens one, and the steam hits you in the face like a spell. You hand over a bean token. Priorities. You bite into the tamal and taste the simplicity of life. Maize, beans, a hint of chili, maybe a trace of amaranth seed if you're lucky. Historians still argue whether the average Aztec ate enough meat, but right now, you don't care. This tamal is proof that breakfast didn't need bacon to be holy. Beside you, a priest in dark cotton robes sips a thick, dark drink from a gourd. You ask what it is. He raises an eyebrow as if you've just questioned the sun itself. Cacahuatl, he says, chocolate water. It's bitter, spiced, sacred. The elite drink it to wake the mind. You take a sip. It's rough, earthy, almost floral, and very much an acquired taste. You try not to cough. The priest smirks. You wander deeper into the market. Every few steps there's a sound. The crunch of dried insects, the splash of fish pulled from shallow baskets, the laughter of two girls selling tiny tortillas for temple offerings. Above it all, a rooster crows from someone's shoulder because of course he does. What's beautiful here is the rhythm. Every movement, every trade, every bite of breakfast feels connected to the pulse of the city. You realize you're standing in a living engine of nutrition and economy, one that powers not only bodies but beliefs. When the sun climbs higher, people will return to their tasks, their fields, their temples. But for now, this chaos is peace. And maybe that's the secret the modern world forgot. Breakfast wasn't something you ate while scrolling. It was something you lived through. You stood in the crowd, you felt the steam, you listened to the jokes, and you became part of something bigger than yourself. A boy tugs your tunic and points to a basket of flowers. For the gods, he says proudly. You buy one, though you're not sure which god it's for. Maybe the one who invented mornings. As you walk back to your canoe, the sounds fade into a single hum again. You glance back once more at the crowd, shimmering heat, laughter, and food, and think, there's no such thing as a forgotten breakfast. Not if someone remembers how it felt to be there. You glide back across the water, your canoe heavy with the weight of tamales, cacao, and conversation. The city shrinks behind you, its hum replaced by the soft slap of water against wood. The air is warmer now, sunlight spilling like molten gold over the lake. You can almost taste the calm that follows breakfast. At home, smoke rises again from the hearth. You can hear the clink of pottery, the familiar rhythm of women grinding maize on their metates. The sound isn't just domestic, it's sacred. For the Aztecs, every meal was a conversation with the gods. You might laugh at the idea of a divine breakfast, but here, even the simplest bowl of corn gruel carried cosmic weight. You kneel beside your neighbor, an older woman whose face is creased like a dry corn leaf. She's shaping tiny tortillas for her husband's offering. "The gods eat first," she murmurs. You watch her place them carefully before a small clay idol, Tlaloc, the rain god. A few grains of salt, a few drops of atole. That's all it takes. You're tempted to ask whether the gods ever get tired of the same menu. But you keep quiet. This isn't just food, it's faith disguised as flavor. Historians still argue whether ordinary people truly believed their gods consumed these offerings, or if it was symbolic, a kind of spiritual recycling program. Either way, everyone agreed. To skip the ritual was like skipping breakfast for the soul. You dip your fingers into a pot of warm atole and sip. It's grainy and faintly sweet. Somewhere far away, temple drums echo. You imagine priests preparing their morning offerings too, except theirs are more elaborate. Chili-laced cacao, ground amaranth shaped into figurines, honey-soaked seeds. The difference between farmer and noble might be vast, but in the morning, everyone faces the same hunger. It's strange, isn't it? You think about how many modern breakfasts pretend to be powerful: energy drinks, protein bars, superfoods. Yet the Aztecs already had all of that, minus the branding. Amaranth for strength, cacao for clarity, maize for endurance. Nature's own balanced meal plan. You step outside again, where the light hits the water just right. Across the canal, a farmer blesses his field with a splash of atole. It steams on contact with the soil. He grins at you, toothless but proud. "A gift for Tenochtitlán," he says, the maize god. He eats before we do. You nod. It makes sense. After all, what's the point of growing corn if you don't thank the spirit inside it? And somewhere in that thought, you feel something shift, a sense that breakfast isn't just the start of the day, but the start of gratitude. Each sip of atole, each bite of tamal, carries a silent promise. You give, and the world gives back. A breeze carries the smell of earth and smoke. You sit by the canal, dipping your toes into the cool water. The woman next door laughs softly, tossing a few kernels into the lake for the fish. Even they deserve a little breakfast. You close your eyes. The warmth of the sun, the distant drum beat, the taste of maize lingering on your tongue. It all blends together until time itself feels slow and soft. You think maybe that's what the Aztecs understood best, that every morning was a ceremony, not grand, not loud, but sacred in its repetition. And as the day stretches ahead, you realize something funny. You've had breakfast 3 times already, once for your stomach, once for your gods, and once for your peace of mind. Not a bad way to start eternity. Steam curls up from the clay pot like a ghost of yesterday's meals. You sit cross-legged beside it, watching a woman stir soaked corn in cloudy water mixed with white powder. She hums softly, rhythmic and unhurried. The smell, earthy, alkaline, faintly sweet, wraps around you like a blanket. This is nixtamalization, though no one here calls it that. For the Aztecs, it's just the way corn is made edible, the way breakfast is born. Maize, the divine gift, doesn't give up its nutrients easily. It's stubborn. It needs coaxing, heat, lime, patience. You reach in with a wooden spoon, feeling the kernels soften, their skins peeling away like secrets. Historians still argue whether this process was discovered by accident or divine intervention. Maybe someone dropped limestone into a boiling pot one day and found the kernels came out sweeter, easier to grind. Or maybe, as the elders say, Tenochtitlan himself whispered the trick into a farmer's dream. Either way, it changed everything. Without this step, entire civilizations would have starved quietly, even surrounded by abundance. Nixtamal made maize complete, releasing vitamin B3, preventing disease, and turning plain gruel into life. You probably didn't think chemistry would sneak into your bedtime story, but here we are, Aztec breakfast as a science experiment that kept an empire alive. The woman laughs when she catches you sniffing the pot. Don't just smell it, grind it. She hands you a stone pestle. You kneel before the metate, pressing the softened kernels against its rough surface. The first grind is awkward. The second begins to flow. Soon your arms ache, but your heart feels steady. There's a beat to it, almost like drumming. Scrape, roll, push. You think about how many generations have repeated this same motion. Grandmothers, daughters, sons, all grinding life into existence before sunrise. The sound carries across courtyards like morning music for the gods. Somewhere another household joins in, another, then another, until the whole village hums like a hive. A child sits nearby, munching on a roasted ear of corn, eyes wide. My mother says if you grind too slow, you'll dream of lazy spirits, he says solemnly. You laugh. And what happens then? He shrugs. They eat your breakfast first. You both giggle, though you grind a little faster just in case. The woman pours the fresh masa into a bowl. Now it's ready, she says. You watch her shape tortillas with practiced hands, pressing and flipping them on a clay griddle. The first puff of steam smells like heaven. She offers you one plain and perfect. You take a bite. It's soft yet smoky, the edges crisp from the fire. You don't need salt or sauce or anything else. It's already complete. She points at the bubbling pot beside her. That, she says, is where the day begins. Not the sun, not the drums, the nixtamal. You think about that as you chew, the quiet revolution of boiled corn. Civilizations have risen and fallen for less. Every bite of masa connects you to the chemistry of survival and the poetry of gratitude. You wipe your hands, warm and slightly sticky, on your tunic. The woman starts singing again, a lullaby meant for both her child and her corn. The lyrics are simple. Grow tall, little one. Feed the people. Remember the light. You feel sleepy just hearing it. The world smells of ash, maize, and memory. You realize the Aztecs didn't just invent breakfast. They invented a ritual that tasted like forever. As the song fades, you glance at the pot one last time. The kernels swirl lazily, glowing faintly in the morning sun. Maybe that's not just steam. Maybe that's the spirit of the corn itself, content, full, ready to be reborn again tomorrow. You cradle a warm bowl the color of river clay and breathe in steam that smells faintly of smoke, stone, and something nutty. Breakfast today is beans, humble, earthy, loyal beans, the quiet bodyguards who stand between you and mid-morning collapse. You tip the bowl and taste a slow, velvety richness that the night left behind. Last evening's pot, reheated at dawn, thickened just enough to cling to your spoon. Somewhere a griddle sighs and a tortilla puffs, as if applauding your life choices. You add a pinch of ground chili and a squeeze of lime. Balance. You learn that word not from a healer or a priest, but from your own stomach. Maize fills, beans fortify. Together they make a perfect duet of amino acids, an edible alliance that keeps farmers on their feet and paddles in their hands. Mainstream fact, whispered kindly into your morning ear. Maize plus beans equals complete protein, the quiet math behind a very awake empire. You smile because nothing says good morning like biochemistry pretending to be comfort food. A neighbor leans across the courtyard with a clay dish and a grin. "Try these." She lifts the lid to reveal a tumble of toasted insects, grasshoppers mostly, gleaming with chili and a tease of salt. You hesitate for 1 second too long and she laughs. "You eat flowers from the lake and you're scared of a little crunch?" Right, point taken. You pop one in. It's smoky, tangy, and shockingly friendly, like a peanut that learned parkour. You chase it with a sip of warm atole and feel your body nod in approval. There it is again. Balance. If you're new to this, your mind reaches for comparisons. Beef jerky? Not quite. Roasted nuts? Closer. Snack that bites back? Exactly. The thing about breakfast bugs is that they do their job politely. Protein, minerals, and a tiny jolt of bravery to carry into the day. You tell yourself it's sustainable, which is true, and you tell yourself you're adventurous, which is also true, even if your left eyebrow is still negotiating. You tip another spoon of beans over a tortilla, fold, and add 2 grasshoppers for company. The bite lands like a good chorus, soft, then crisp, then a chili flare that makes your eyes water just enough to prove you're alive. Historians still argue whether insects were daily fare for most people or more of a seasonal boost, especially during festivals and market flushes. You decide the debate can continue without you. Your bowl is a vote for yes, more, thanks. Across the canal, a trader calls out about a huautli, lake fly eggs scraped from reed mats, pressed into little cakes, the infamous Mexican caviar before caviar was cool. Quirky tidbit, some cooks whisk a huautli into morning batter so tamales set with an extra spring. Like breakfast doing a tiny victory dance. You've had them once. Savory, airy, a little ocean adjacent without the ocean. Your neighbor swears they make you sharper. You counter that coffee hasn't been invented here yet, so everything helps. She smirks. Then eat too. The courtyard fills with the soft percussion of daily life. Metate stones rasping, griddles exhaling, children reciting lessons while chewing. A boy walks by with a palm leaf cone of mixiots, morning leftovers wrapped in maguey skin and warmed. You trade him a tortilla for a bite. The sauce is rich with chili and herbs. Your brain fires off a tiny firework labeled, "Remember this." You do. Your memory loves chili almost as much as your mouth. You glance into the bean pot again and notice the gloss on the surface, the way it thickens at the edges where the clay is hottest. It's a small miracle, really. Last night's simmer reborn. The cook drops in a handful of amaranth seeds to bloom like tiny stars. She says they help you feel light on your feet. You do feel lighter, which may be breakfast placebo, but you're not filing a complaint. She sprinkles a few toasted seeds on a tortilla and winks. For the road. You lean back, elbows on stone, and watch morning arrange itself. There is a ladder of meals here, simple for the body, fragrant for the spirit, tasty for the mood. If you were noble, your plate might flirt with turkey or rabbit. But meat is guest appearance food, not the star of the early show. Another mainstream fact glides in. Most Aztec commoners met their protein needs from beans, amaranth, chia, and insects, with meat as an occasional ornament. The empire's calories, courageously boring, arrived in clay bowls. Your first joke of the day arrives uninvited. You imagine a modern cereal box shouting, "Now with 20% more grasshoppers," with a cartoon cricket flexing. You snort, and a little chili goes up your nose. This is how heroes fall. The courtyard door squeaks, A healer steps in, draped in cotton the color of cloud, carrying a bundle of herbs that smell like pepper, mint and river shade. She nods at the bean pot, pleased. Good. Earth food for strong mornings. She drops a single leaf into your atole, turning the flavor grassy and bright. For heat in the blood, she says. You ask if the leaf has a name. She smiles, dodges, and says, it has a job. That feels right. Not everything has to brand itself to be real. You hear another debate in the distance. Two elders arguing, this time not about bugs, but about beans and festivals. Historians still argue whether certain ceremonial days discouraged beans because of their, well, famous musical qualities, or encourage them because work doesn't pause for heavens. You sip and grin. Either way, breakfast finds its path. You decide to test your new courage. You pick up a particularly dramatic grasshopper with chili glittering like tiny rubies. Give it a respectful nod and tuck it into a tortilla with a thin stripe of bean paste. It crunches, sings, and disappears down the road to glory. Humor finds you again. You mentally draft a morning prayer, Tenochtitlán, Lord of Maize, Xochiquetzal, Lady of Joy, and whoever is in charge of crunchy things, thank you. The light thickens, honey gold now, sliding across the chinampas and turning dew into tiny mirrors. You pack a palm leaf pouch, a folded tortilla, a scoop of beans, a twist of chili salt, and yes, a handful of toasted chapulines because you are brave and slightly showy. Balance you can carry. You tuck in a small gourd of water and consider the alchemy of your kit, field fuel and 4 gestures. Before you go, the cook lifts a lid on a small clay pan and shows you something new. Slivered maguey worms, flash toasted with epizot and a squeeze of lime, meant to scatter over beans like confetti. You taste one. It's buttery, faintly sweet, and so delicate you feel rude chewing it. You close your eyes and the courtyard becomes a cathedral of warmth and whispering pots. If there is a god of just one more bite, you are now a devotee. You step outside, pouch at your hip, heart steady, legs ready. The lake air is cooler than the courtyard and smells of wet reeds and promises. You look back at the doorway, at the bean pot, the bowl of insects, the basket of tortillas, and feel the lesson settle in your bones. Breakfast doesn't have to shout to be powerful. It just has to show up with purpose and a little crunch. On the canal, a canoe nudges the bank. You climb in, kneel, and push off. The paddle dips. The morning leans forward, and you ride into the day with beans in your belly, brave little grasshoppers in your story, and a quiet, confident balance humming under your ribs. If the sun had a scoreboard, you'd be winning by 3. The air changes when the cacao starts to foam. You hear it first, the steady whisk-whisk of a wooden molinillo spinning between palms. Then the smell drifts through the courtyard, roasted cacao, crushed chili, a trace of wild vanilla, and flowers you can't name. You follow your nose until you find her, the vendor with wrists of steel, stirring a pot so dark it swallows light. She nods at you. Morning medicine? You hesitate. You remember your last run-in with Aztec cacao. Bitter, gritty, heroic in theory, but traumatic in practice. Still, you're curious. She pours a gourd full of the steaming drink and hands it to you. It's thick, almost like paint. You take a cautious sip and surprise yourself. It's smoother this time, richer, still bitter, but alive with warmth and spice. This is no candy bar chocolate. This is power disguised as patience. It's the Aztec version of an espresso shot, except it comes with theological implications. Cacao is sacred, a seed born from Quetzalcoatl's tears. The gods gave it to humans to remind them that bitterness and strength often travel together. You sip again, slower now. The burn of chili follows a sweet floral echo of magnolia and achiote. You lick your lips. It's intense. The vendor chuckles. That means it's working. She tells you that warriors drink cacao before battle, traders before long journeys, lovers before festivals, and priests before prayer. You ask who doesn't drink it. Those who sleep, she says and grins. Historians still argue whether the Aztecs mixed cacao with water, maize, or honey, and whether they served it hot or cold depending on class and ritual. You don't need a debate. You've got evidence. Warm, spicy proof sliding down your throat. You imagine the emperor himself, Montezuma, starting his day with 50 cups of this stuff. Suddenly, your two-sip courage feels small. You watch as she pours another batch, whisking furiously to raise the foam. Foam is the treasure, the crown, the sign that the cacao is properly alive. A good froth is worth a priest's blessing. When the bubbles finally rise, she scoops them gently into a smaller bowl and hands it to a child. "For the sun," she says. The child blows on it, releasing a tiny mist that smells like dawn. Quirky tidbit. Some records claim cacao drinks were flavored with ground flower petals or even cornmeal to thicken them. You imagine the Aztec morning menu. Less frappe, more philosophy. Each ingredient had meaning. Chili for strength, vanilla for purity, maize for endurance. Every sip was a sermon in disguise. You sit on a stone step, watching the marketplace swirl. People pass by, holding gourds, laughing, arguing, planning. No one drinks in silence. Each cup of cacao is a social event, a signal of energy, of belonging. You realize how strange it is that centuries later, humans still crave the same ritual. The tools changed, the foam turned to milk froth, but the heartbeat is the same. Morning, caffeine, and the illusion of control. You glance at your cup again. The surface has cooled into a soft sheen. You tilt it and catch your reflection. Eyes bright, cheeks flushed from chili. You look awake, more awake than you meant to be. "You'll crash later," the vendor warns, sensing your pride. "Drink water after, or you'll dream of jaguars." You laugh, half believing her. She leans in. "You think this is a drink?" It's not, it's a bridge. From sleep to strength, from human to divine. Cross carefully. You thank her, drop a few cacao beans into her basket, and walk away feeling a little taller, a little faster, as if the morning has plugged you into some invisible current. The canals glimmer again. The farmers are already out, their paddles cutting through mirrored water. You realize they too must have their versions of this drink. Thinner, maybe, or laced with maize, but serving the same purpose. Courage before labor. You grin. The sun feels sharper, the air lighter. Maybe the cacao worked. Maybe belief is half the recipe. You whisper to yourself as you step into your canoe. "To the gods of beans and bravery, cheers." And somewhere in the foam still clinging to your lips, the morning answers back. The first sound that finds you isn't a voice or a drum. It's the rhythm of grinding stones. Rrr, shh, rrr, shh. The heartbeat of the Aztec morning. You sit near the doorway of a courtyard, eyes half open, watching women lean into their meditates, pressing maize dough forward and back with perfect muscle memory. Shoulders roll, elbows flow, wrists twist just so. It's mesmerizing, like watching time knead itself. The smell is immediate, warm maize, smoke, and faint ash. You take a deep breath and realize how constant this sound must have been. 1,000 courtyards across Tenochtitlán, each humming its own sleepy percussion section. Historians still argue whether the metate was purely domestic or carried spiritual meaning, but you already know, anything repeated every dawn becomes a prayer. One woman, her hair braided in a crown, glances at you and grins. "You look tired," she says. You nod. "Cacao," you reply, gesturing vaguely. She laughs. "Ah, too much fire in the blood. Here, grind. It'll calm you." She pushes a lump of dough your way. You obey. The stone is rough under your palms, cool at first, then warming. You push the masa forward, then pull it back, over and over. It resists at first, then yields, softening, binding, becoming smooth. You can feel your heartbeat syncing with the scrape of stone. The rhythm pulls you under like a lullaby, except instead of sleep, it offers focus. A child nearby imitates the sound with 2 pebbles, tapping them together like a miniature orchestra. His mother doesn't scold him. She nods approvingly. "He's learning the rhythm of work," she says. You think about that, how rhythm carries memory better than words. How the sound of grinding maize might outlive empires. Mainstream fact slides quietly into your mind. Archaeologists have found meditatives worn thin from centuries of use, passed from mother to daughter like sacred relics. You imagine the weight of inheritance, how each groove in the stone holds stories, sweat, laughter, and burnt tortillas no one talks about. You pause to wipe your brow. The woman beside you hums an old tune, something low and circular, a melody with no clear beginning or end. You hum along, badly, but she doesn't mind. The sun filters in through the reed walls, slicing golden stripes across her arms. The air smells like life. Nothing fancy, just life. "Faster," she says, "breakfast doesn't wait." You push harder. The dough glides smoother now, almost glossy. She reaches over, pinches a bit, and tastes. "Good," she murmurs. "You've got the touch." You grin. "I'll add that to my resume." She frowns, not understanding, then laughs anyway. When she moves the dough to the griddle, the first tortilla inflates ever so slightly. She slaps it flat with her palm, a gesture sharp enough to echo. Steam escapes with a sigh. You watch the tortilla brown in tiny freckles, then flip gracefully, one hand steady as breath. She gestures for you to try. Yours tears instantly. "Still learning," you admit. "Good. Never trust someone who doesn't break a few tortillas." Quirky tidbit. Some scholars claim the rhythm of grinding inspired early Aztec music patterns. You can almost hear it, a bass tempo of work, layered with birdsong, footsteps, maybe even laughter. The daily matat symphony of a city alive before it's fully awake. You sit back, your arms pleasantly sore, watching her pile tortillas into a woven basket lined with maguey leaves. She sprinkles a few drops of water to keep them soft. The smell makes your stomach complain loudly enough to earn another laugh. "Patience," she says. "The gods eat first." You wonder, what did they hear every morning, those gods of maize and fire? Maybe the same grind and scrape, the same hissing of griddles, the same whisper of gratitude under tired breaths. You pick up a finished tortilla, tear it, and hold half toward the rising sun. "For you," you whisper, not sure if you mean the gods or the cook or just the morning itself. You eat the rest, soft, smoky, perfect. The courtyard quiets for a moment. The grindstone hum fades. Outside, a rooster crows like it's claiming authorship of daylight. You close your eyes and listen. Somewhere beyond the walls, hundreds more matats answer back, steady and sure. You smile, realizing you've joined a rhythm older than any empire, one that will still hum long after the names are forgotten. You stretch your fingers, feel the grit of maize between them, and think. This is what morning sounds like when the world still believes in patience. By the time you reach the marketplace again, the sun has climbed high enough to paint everything in liquid gold. The air shimmers with heat and voices. You pull your shawl tighter, not from cold, but from habit, and drift into the noise like smoke. Everywhere, people are talking, not just trading food or gossip, but weaving their mornings together in words. Breakfast is no private affair, it's a conversation, a theater, a performance of survival. You pass two women arguing about the price of honey, a young man shouting about a new batch of tortillas, and a priest bargaining for flowers while pretending not to bargain. You buy a cup of atole, thin, sweet, and slightly gritty, and sip as you walk. It's flavored with mamey fruit today, a little tangy, a little floral. Special for good dreams, the vendor tells you. You raise an eyebrow. I thought it was morning. She shrugs. Some people wake up tired from yesterday. You nod because that's painfully relatable. Across the square, a group of farmers sit on woven mats, sharing bowls of beans and joking about the weather. It rained more on the gods than on us, one says, earning a roar of laughter. You sit nearby, pretending not to eavesdrop, but their conversation floats easily into your ears. It's about corn prices, fishing luck, and a rumor that the emperor might raise tribute taxes again. You slurp your atole and feel right at home. Humans, thousands of years ago, still complaining about management before 9 a.m. Historians still argue whether these markets were tightly controlled by officials or mostly self-organized, but the energy here says both. Order in the chaos like bees in a hive. There's a rhythm, an unspoken politeness under the noise. Everyone knows their place, their price, their morning ritual. Then from the corner of your eye, you spot a cluster of scribes. They sit cross-legged with thin brushes, recording trades and tallying goods. One of them dips his brush into a pot of black ink and scribbles on bark paper. Your name, maybe, or just a symbol for another fool buying tamales. You grin, wave, and he waves back. Nearby, two young acolytes of the temple are arguing softly. You're not supposed to eat before the first bell, one insists. The other, chewing on a tortilla, says through a full mouth, the gods will understand hunger. They go back and forth until an older priest walks by, smacks them both gently with his palm leaf fan, and mutters, eat quietly, argue later. You can't help laughing, and they glare at you, which makes it worse. Quirky tidbit, morning rituals among Aztec priests often included fasting or specific food restrictions before ceremonies. Some would only drink plain water or atole without flavoring, believing that taste distracted from prayer. You take another bite of your sweet tamal and whisper, guess I'm doomed. At the far end of the market, a group of traders from distant lands display their goods. Parrot feathers, obsidian knives, dried peppers, and little cakes made of amaranth and honey. You buy one because, well, it's breakfast research. It sticks to your fingers and your soul, sweet and nutty. The vendor nods solemnly. It feeds your heart, she says. You don't argue. It does. Somewhere near the temple steps, musicians start tuning their conch shells and drums. A boy runs through the crowd shouting that the morning offerings will begin soon. You follow, curious. At the top of the steps, people gather to watch priests raise baskets of maize, cacao, and flowers to the sky. Smoke curls upward, twisting like pale ribbons. A woman beside you murmurs a prayer for her husband's harvest, clutching a handful of corn kernels in her fist. You think about how every bite of breakfast has a twin, a prayer whispered by someone you'll never meet. The drums quicken. The smell of incense and burned corn husks fills the air. The priest chants softly, nothing dramatic, just gratitude disguised as repetition. You look down from the temple and see the whole marketplace glowing in the sun. Thousands of tiny offerings, meals, gestures, laughs, and sips, all merging into one giant breath of life. You realize the Aztecs didn't separate the sacred from the ordinary. Gossip, prayer, breakfast, all belong to the same morning rhythm. You take another drink of atole and whisper to yourself, maybe holiness just tastes like corn. The drums fade. The crowd disperses. Traders return to shouting. Someone sneezes. Someone else complains about the price of salt. The world keeps moving, perfectly imperfect. As you walk away, you catch a snatch of a conversation between two women behind you. Did you hear about the grain shortage in the East? Yes, my cousin says the tribute boats are late again. A pause. Maybe the gods are hungry. They laugh, but you feel the weight behind it. Hunger, worry, the thin line between enough and not enough. You finish your cup, drop a coin in the vendor's basket, and whisper a silent thank you to the corn, to the hands that ground it, to the chatter that fills the morning with meaning. The market hums on, unchanged, eternal. You step into the sunlight, full of food and thought, in a strange kind of peace. You follow a narrow path lined with adobe walls, where laughter drifts from doorways and smoke curls lazily into the air. The city feels alive, its breath steady and rhythmic. You pass homes where children are already awake, kneeling beside clay bowls of atole before heading off to their day's work, or what counts as school in this world. A young boy rushes past you, clutching a folded maize cake in a cloth napkin. His sister runs after him with another one, yelling, "You forgot your salt." It's not much of a breakfast, just a tortilla rolled around beans or squash, but it's enough to fuel his feet as he darts down the road toward the temple schools. The kalmakak for nobles, or the telpak kali for everyone else. You follow at a distance, curious. The city is waking in layers. The farmers row toward their chinampas. The traders head back to the marketplace. The scribes sharpen reeds for writing, and the children, well, they hurry toward discipline disguised as destiny. At the school gate, a priest greets them with calm authority. "Leave your laughter outside," he says. "The gods prefer silence." The boys obey, sort of. They line up, each placing a small food offering, a pinch of maize, a drop of honey, a few cacao beans, on a stone altar before stepping inside. Their stomachs growl in unison, and you can't help but smile. Inside, the air smells of chalk, reed mats, and ink. The boys sit cross-legged as the priest begins to chant lessons: poetry, astronomy, history, etiquette. You notice that each has a small cup beside him. They sip atole quietly between recitations, keeping their energy steady. You think of your own mornings at school, cold sandwiches, rush bus rides, and suddenly envy them a little. Learning fueled by warmth and ritual feels gentler. Historians still argue whether the Aztecs' education system was strict or holistic. Was it obedience training or an early form of moral philosophy? Watching these children recite verses about the maize gods and cosmic balance, you suspect it was both. Knowledge here isn't separate from gratitude. Every lesson begins and ends with a whisper of thanks to the earth. A girl across the courtyard sweeps the floor while humming. Her teacher tells her that sweeping is sacred. It keeps the spirits clear. You realize that even chores carry meaning here. Nothing is just work. Everything belongs to the same circle of purpose. You step outside for air and spot another group of kids learning in the open courtyard. Their instructor, a patient older man, teaches them how to read the stars. The sky, he says, is the God's handwriting. Learn to read it and you'll never be lost. You tilt your head upward, squinting at the daylight sky. Good luck, you mutter. Then the smell of tortillas distracts you. Nearby, a young mother sits beneath a shade canopy, flipping corn cakes on a griddle. She's waiting for her son to finish lessons. She offers you one, warm from the fire, with a smear of pumpkin seed paste. He learns, I feed, she says simply. Same work, different gods. You take a bite, it's nutty, soft, and faintly sweet. He's lucky, you say. She shrugs. We all are when there's corn. You ask about her husband. He's gone to the chinampas. He'll come back at sunset, she says, her eyes still on the griddle. If the rains are kind. There's no complaint in her voice, just acceptance, the steady calm of people who live close to both hunger and hope. A priest walks by, inspecting the courtyard. He pauses when he sees her cooking. Food near the temple? He scolds lightly. The smell distracts the boys. She smiles sweetly. Then tell the gods to give them stronger focus. He blinks, caught between laughter and authority, then moves on. You hide your grin behind another bite. Quirky tidbit. Some records mention that even students training for priesthood were allowed light morning meals of maize or chia before fasting periods began, but always under supervision. You imagine teenagers sneaking tamales behind temple walls, whispering, "It's for research." As the day warms, the children file out for a break. They sit in the shade, sharing what's left of their breakfast. Crumbs, seeds, small smiles. One boy offers half his tortilla to a stray dog who wags his tail like he's been blessed. You think, maybe he has. The teacher gathers them again, pointing to the sky. You must remember, he says, the gods gave us corn so we would never forget to share. You nod quietly to yourself. The idea is so simple it feels revolutionary. Learning, labor, and breakfast all stitched together by gratitude. When the bell rings, the children return inside. You linger a moment longer, watching their small figures disappear into the temple shadows. The mother packs up her griddle and hums a lullaby as she walks away. You finish the last crumb of your tortilla, lean against the wall, and let the warmth of the stone seep into your back. Somewhere the faint sound of grinding returns, distant but steady. The day is unfolding exactly as it should, humble, hungry, holy. The palace rises from the city like a mountain carved by human hands. Stone walls dressed in murals, courtyards glittering with obsidian mosaics, gardens where parrots flash green and gold. You've never been this close before. The air itself feels heavier, perfumed with flowers and roasted maize. Guards stand at the gate, faces stern, spears glinting like sunbeams trapped in metal. You keep your head low. You're not supposed to be here, but curiosity has a way of ignoring rules, especially before breakfast number 2. Through the open archways, you catch glimpses of servants moving with silent precision. Platters gleam in the light, and somewhere beyond, faint music hums. A flute, slow and deliberate. You know the sound. The emperor is awake. They say Moctezuma eats like no mortal should. that his table could feed 100 farmers, that even his morning drink is poured into golden cups. Historians still argue whether that's exaggeration or awe, but today you're about to find out. You're led through a side courtyard by a young servant who whispers, "Stay close. Don't touch anything that looks expensive." You nod solemnly. Everything looks expensive. The floor itself seems to cost more than your dignity. You pass trays of exotic fruits, mamey, sapote, prickly pear, each sliced neatly. There's honey thick as syrup, roasted beans, grilled fish dusted with chili, and bowls of amaranth atole so creamy they shine. The air smells like every good decision you've ever made. Then at the far end of the hall you see him, Moctezuma II, the Huitlatoni. He sits cross-legged on a raised dais, draped in turquoise and jaguar skin, calm but commanding. His breakfast is both feast and ceremony, no chaos, no chatter, just the soft shuffle of servants and the steady rhythm of ritual. A woman kneels before him, offering a cup of frothy cacao. He lifts it carefully, the foam trembling. You imagine the drink, dark, spiced with vanilla and chili, thickened with maize. You know that taste now. He drinks slowly, eyes half closed. Power, distilled and sipped. One servant brings a platter of tamales wrapped in banana leaves. Another sets down grilled turkey strips and little cakes of amaranth mixed with honey. You think of your own breakfast, beans, tortillas, laughter, and smile. The emperor eats like the gods, but you suspect he doesn't laugh nearly as much. Everything has a meaning here, your guide whispers. The emperor's first bite blesses the city, his second, the army, his third, his ancestors. You nod, awed. You imagine the pressure of chewing on behalf of 1,000,000 souls. You'd probably choke halfway through the first tamal. Quirky tidbit. Some Spanish chroniclers claim Moctezuma was served up to 300 dishes daily, each on a different plate. Whether that's true or colonial gossip, no one knows. But they all agreed he never ate the same dish twice in a day. You mentally add that to your unattainable life goals list. A small gesture breaks the silence with a clumsy bow, and the emperor's lips twitch in amusement. The court relaxes just a little. A servant pours water scented with flowers into silver bowls for washing hands. Another brings a platter of tiny tortillas made with blue maize. Their color glows softly, like moonlight caught in food form. Blue for balance, the guide murmurs. To remind him that even the sky bends to hunger. You notice the quiet choreography around him. No one speaks directly unless summoned. The attendants move like wind and shadow, refilling bowls before they're empty. The emperor gestures toward one servant, who steps forward carrying a small tray of roasted cacao beans. "For the gods," he says simply, scattering a handful onto the floor. The scent of chocolate mingles with smoke. You realize something profound and oddly comforting. Even at the top of the pyramid, breakfast remains a dialogue with the divine. It's not just consumption, it's communion. Every flavor carries a message. Every grain has a place in the hierarchy of gratitude. A soft cough breaks your reverie. The guide nods toward the door. We've lingered too long. You bow instinctively, even though Moctezuma hasn't noticed you exist. That feels safer. As you step back into the sunlight, the noise of the common world rushes in again. Laughter, footsteps, the rhythmic clack of grinding stones. The palace gates close behind you, sealing in the gold and silence. You glance at your hands. They still smell faintly of roasted maize and honey. You smile to yourself. Maybe power tastes the same everywhere. Sweet, heavy, fleeting. But warmth, laughter, and a well-made tortilla, those belong to everyone. You turn back toward the canals, ready to trade imperial grandeur for the honest steam of street tamales. Behind you, the flutes fade. Ahead, a boatman calls out, "Hot atole, still warm." And you think, yes, that's my kind of kingdom. The heat presses down like a soft blanket when you reach the docks again. Canoes drift lazily across the canals, their reflections bending in the water like painted ribbons. But there's something new in the air. Foreign voices, sharp and uneven, cutting through the steady rhythm of Nahuatl speech. You turn to look. A small group of men, pale-skinned, metal-clad, stand awkwardly near the water, their armor catching the sunlight. They're clearly out of place, squinting against the brightness, clutching books and quills instead of fishing poles. These are the chroniclers, the newcomers, the ones who will write everything down wrong. You watch as one points toward a food vendor's stall. "What is that?" he asks, accent heavy. The interpreter hesitates before answering. "Atole, señor. Food." The Spaniard frowns. "Gruel?" He scribbles it into his notebook. You can almost hear history twisting in real time. The vendor ladles steaming corn drink into a clay cup and offers it with both hands. The foreigner sniffs it, grimaces, and takes a sip. His face contorts as though he's been betrayed by the concept of texture. "It is thick," he says politely, "and warm." The interpreter shrugs, fighting a smile. "It is life," he replies simply. You can't help laughing under your breath. You wonder if this moment will end up in some future book. Strange natives drink hot corn water at dawn. You picture a scholar centuries from now reading that and shaking their head. "If only he knew," you whisper. Historians still argue whether these chroniclers genuinely misunderstood Aztec cuisine or intentionally framed it as primitive. The truth is probably both. To a European tongue used to bread and butter, the texture of maize felt alien, too grounded, too intimate with earth. But to the people here, it was the taste of home, the first breath of morning made edible. You move closer, pretending to study a nearby basket of peppers while eavesdropping. The Spaniard points to another pot. "And this?" "Chocolate," says the interpreter. "Ah, at last, something we know." He takes a sip and instantly sputters, choking on bitterness. "This is not chocolate," he protests. The vendor raises an eyebrow. "It is real chocolate." You try to hide your grin behind your hand. This is, perhaps, the first cultural collision conducted entirely through breakfast. You think maybe that's the most human way it could have begun. The newcomers are fascinated and bewildered in equal measure. They point at everything: tamales, beans, grasshoppers. One of them gestures wildly at a roasted turkey leg, muttering something about feasts and savagery. The interpreter sighs. "They eat what the land gives," he says, as though explaining gravity. You imagine what these men will write later. That the Aztecs drank cacao instead of wine, that they worshipped maize as a god, that they ate insects because they knew no better. And maybe somewhere between their shock and superiority, they'll miss the poetry of it all, the quiet rhythm, the gratitude baked into every bite. A woman nearby snickers, watching the scene unfold. "Maybe the gods sent them to remind us not to complain about the heat," she jokes. You laugh and she hands you a tamal wrapped in banana leaf. "Eat," she says. Before they name it something ridiculous, you unwrap it slowly. Inside, the masa is rich and golden, filled with beans and herbs. It's humble but perfect. You take a bite, feeling the familiar warmth spread through your chest. The chroniclers can have their words. You'll keep the flavor. Quirky tidbit. One early Spanish record actually describes cacao as a drink that seems more fit for pigs than men. You wonder how that poor scribe would feel, knowing his descendants would one day eat chocolate bars shaped like hearts. History is deliciously ironic. The chroniclers wander off toward the temples, leaving behind a trail of confusion and notes. The vendor shakes her head. They'll tell their king what they tasted. I hope he likes corn. You glance at her. Do you think they'll remember it right? She shrugs, stirring her pot. No one ever does, but maybe their children will learn to cook it properly. You smile. The air smells like roasted maize and sea wind. You realize you're standing in a hinge moment, the meeting of two worlds, two breakfasts, two ways of understanding morning. One will write books, the other will keep cooking. You sip the last of your atole, now cool and thick. A dragonfly skims the canal's surface, tracing invisible circles. The city hums around you, unaware that its days are numbered. But for now, everything still glows. The markets, the laughter, the scent of corn smoke rising like memory. You whisper to the lake, remember this. The water ripples once, as if promising it will. The drums begin before the sun reaches its highest point. Slow, hollow thumps rolling across the rooftops like distant thunder. You pause mid-bite on a tortilla, pulse syncing with the beat. Around you, people begin to hush. A trader stops counting coins. A child clutches her mother's shawl. It's time for the mid-month fast, one of the sacred intervals when even breakfast must hold its breath. The air thickens with incense. From the temple steps, a priest lifts his hands to the sky, his voice rising and falling like wind through reeds. You recognize the chant. It's an invitation to purity, to balance. Food, laughter, even comfort must pause for a few hours so the city can remember hunger's purpose. Historians still argue whether these ritual fasts were spiritual discipline or political theater, ways to keep the empire humble or obedient. But standing here, you feel something quieter, a rhythm older than power, a heartbeat of restraint. To refuse food in a world of farmers and cooks isn't punishment, it's punctuation. You wander toward the plaza where smoke curls from clay braziers. The smell is paradoxical, charred corn husks and sweet herbs. Families have gathered not to eat, but to prepare the offerings that will break the fast later. Bowls of amaranth, tiny tamales filled only with air and prayer, gourds of pure water. Children fidget, licking lips, but no one sneaks a bite. Hunger is holy today. A woman beside you murmurs, the gods test patience, they already know appetite. She offers you a cup of water infused with a single leaf of mint. You drink. It tastes like forgiveness. Nearby, a group of men kneel before a fire pit. One sprinkles ground maize into the flames, whispering names of ancestors, of lost children, of distant rains. The kernels pop softly like tiny sighs. You realize that even sound can be sustenance. Then the drums change. Faster now, eager. The high priest lifts a clay vessel filled with atole so thin it's almost clear. He tilts it slowly, letting it spill onto the ground. Steam rises in delicate ribbons. The first sip for the gods, someone whispers. The rest for us. When the signal comes, the crowd exhales as one. The fast breaks, not with a feast, but with gratitude. Women hand out warm tortillas, no thicker than a leaf. You accept one, tear it in half, and place a piece on a stone before eating the rest. The taste, plain, perfect, lands like a hymn. Quirky tidbit, some records mention that during the fasting festivals of Tlacaxepehualistli and Tenochtitlan, priests consumed nothing but chia mixed with water for days, believing it purified the blood. You think of modern detox diets and chuckle softly. History really does love a reboot. As the crowd begins to eat, laughter slowly returns. Tentative at first, then open. Children chase each other around the courtyard, crumbs flying. A man plucks a shell flute, filling the air with bright, playful notes. Even the priests smile now, wiping sweat from their brows. You sit beside a fountain where sunlight breaks into shards. An old woman offers you a small cake of amaranth mixed with honey. To sweeten what was bitter, she says. You bite into it. It crunches, fragrant and light. The sugar hits your tongue like sunrise after rain. She sighs contentedly. The gods forgive hunger quickly. Humans take longer. You nod, watching the steam rise from her pot. Maybe we're learning, you say. Maybe, she replies, but don't skip breakfast tomorrow. You laugh. I won't. The drums slow again, softer now, melting into the afternoon breeze. Smoke, song, and the smell of corn drift upward, joining the clouds over Lake Texcoco. You look around. The city is glowing, bellies full, hearts steadier. The fast is over, the feast modest, the lesson simple. Every meal tastes better when shared with patience. The morning after the festival feels heavier. You wake to silence that doesn't belong here. No grinding stones, no market chatter, not even the gentle creak of oars on the canal. Only wind and the sound of something distant collapsing. You step outside squinting. The air smells strange, acrid, metallic, and unfamiliar. Smoke hangs low over the horizon where the temples rise. You follow the sound, heart thudding. In the distance, you see the city's edges shifting, wood, stone, and fire tangled together. It's been weeks since the strangers came. At first, they brought gifts, beads, metal, strange animals. Then they brought rules, and after that, hunger. The tribute caravans stopped. The lake routes clogged with fear. People whisper of diseases that burn the body without flame, of fields left untended, of markets silent as tombs. You walk past the courtyard where women once ground maize at dawn. The matats sit cold and clean. One leans against the wall, cracked in half. A child's handprint remains faintly in the dust beside it, as if waving from yesterday. Historians still argue whether famine came from war, drought, or disease. But you can feel the truth pressing in on all sides. It wasn't one wound. It was many small ones bleeding together. You find your neighbor, the one who used to tease you for drinking breakfast slowly, kneeling by an empty pot. Her hands shake as she stirs water with nothing in it. He's sick, she whispers, nodding toward the hut where her husband lies pale and still. He can't eat, but maybe the gods will smell the offering. You want to say something comforting, but your throat locks. You hand her a few kernels of maize from your pouch. She presses them to her forehead before dropping them into the water. It will make the soup remember, she says. You don't ask what. The streets that used to echo with laughter now hold echoes of footsteps instead. The market, once a hive of color, is half empty. Vendors sit behind piles of wilted herbs, hollow-eyed. A group of boys chase a half-deflated ball of reeds, still laughing because children always do. But the sound feels thinner. You pass a temple where incense still burns. Inside, a priest prays over a bowl of atole gone cold. His voice cracks halfway through a chant, but he finishes anyway. Outside, 2 Spanish soldiers lean against a wall, fanning themselves lazily. One of them spits. "They pray too much," he mutters. The other shrugs. "They have to. They've lost everything else." You keep walking. You think of Moctezuma, of his golden cups and blue tortillas, and wonder what he's eating now, or if he's eating at all. You remember the vendor who once joked that the gods sent foreigners to teach patience. You hope she was wrong? At the lake's edge, the chinampas look abandoned. Water weeds choke the canals. The air buzzes with flies. You kneel, scoop up a handful of soil, and let it crumble between your fingers. It's still rich, still alive, waiting for someone to return. The earth always waits. A heron glides low across the water. Its reflection breaks into ripples that shimmer gold in the fading light. You realize this might be the last quiet breakfast this land ever knows. Not because the food is gone, but because the rhythm is. The sound of grinding stones, the laughter over tamales, the whispers before the sun, all swallowed by silence that history will call progress. You close your eyes and for a moment you can still hear it. The hum of the marketplace, the scrape of metates, the sizzle of tortillas puffing on clay. A memory of warmth in a cooling world. Quirky tidbit, or perhaps just cruel irony, some of the very foods the chroniclers mocked will survive to feed their descendants. Maize, chocolate, chili, carried across oceans, renamed, repackaged, reborn. The flavors will live, even if the hands that made them fade. You take one last sip of the atole you brought from home. It's cold now, but still tastes like strength. You whisper a promise into the wind. We remember. The heron lands nearby, head tilted, unbothered by your grief. Life always returns, you think, just not in the same language. You turn back toward the sleeping city. The smoke drifts, the sun slides down, and somewhere beyond reach, the grinding starts again. Not from stones this time, but from the slow gears of memory trying not to forget. You wake to a different city, a different century, the same hunger. The ground under your feet is asphalt now, not packed earth, and the canal has become a road pulsing with scooters, buses, and a bicycle bell that sounds like a tiny clown auditioning for heaven. But there it is again, breakfast moving through morning air like a promise. You follow the sound to a street corner where steam escapes a blue drum and a voice sings a spell you didn't know you still remembered. Tamales oaxaqueños, atoles calientitos. You smile. Of course they survived. Tamales are immortal. They just change costumes. The vendor lifts the drum lid and a cloud of scented heat rolls over you. Masa, chili, chicken, mole, banana leaf glossed with the shine of 1,000 mornings. You ask for one and add an atole so thick it walks to you on its own. Champorado, the vendor says, cacao and masa whisked into warmth. You take a sip. It's the old drink, wearing a new hat, and it still goes straight to the bones. Mainstream fact glides in like a friendly docent. In 2010, UNESCO recognized traditional Mexican cuisine, including the maize bean chili triad in community foodways, as intangible cultural heritage. You grin into your cup. World Heritage, currently fogging your glasses. Nice. Around you, the city hums. 2 school kids juggling backpacks and conchas. A woman in an office blazer negotiating with a tamal like it's a business partner. A street sweeper rhythmically pushing dust into neat lines. Breakfast never stopped. It just picked up a shift. You bite into a tamal wrapped tight in banana leaf. The masa is softer than memory. The filling bright with chili and the patience of whoever got up at 4 a.m. to make it. You murmur a thank you to a person you'll never meet and to the maize that keeps signing contract renewals with humanity. Across the sidewalk, a cafe window reflects your face, and a little past life flickers on the glass. Metate, courtyard, blue maize, freckles on a griddle. You blink, and it's stainless steel, milk steam, and a barista coaxing poetry out of a metal wand. You consider coffee, then glance at your champorado. Sorry, modernity, you whisper. I'm already caffeinated by history. First light joke lands. Even your inner critic nods. You wander toward a neighborhood market where plastic tarps ripple like sails. Bowls of amaranto candy stack into miniature pyramids. Honey glistens in recycled jars. And someone sells tortillas, still warm from a press that thumps with the same ancient heartbeat. A child points at blue masa and asks why it's the color of the sky. His grandmother says, "So we don't forget to look up when we eat." You nearly applaud. Poets should take notes from grandmothers. Quirky tidbit time. A vendor offers huitlacoche, corn smut, midnight black and velvet soft, once feared as a blight, now pan-seared royalty tucked into morning quesadillas. You taste it and laugh quietly at the universe. A fungus on corn becomes breakfast luxury. History loves a glow-up. Joke 2. You imagine a cereal box boasting, "Now with 12% more dignified fungus." The box winks. You buy 2. Historians still argue whether today's atoles and tamales are a straight line from Mexican kitchens or a braided river. Indigenous recipes wound through colonial ingredients like sugar, cinnamon, and dairy. You sip again and feel both truths at once. The old core is intact. Maize, water, heat, patience. While the spices hum like new neighbors who moved in and brought cake. Continuity doesn't have to be pure to be honest. It has to be love to stay. Near the market's edge, an abuela tends a comal that could outpreach a cathedral. She pats masa into discs, flips them with 3 fingers, and hands one to you with a smear of pumpkin seed pipian. "Eat," she commands, the same verb that has shepherded you through centuries. You obey. The tortilla breathes against your palm. Yes, breathes. Because a perfect tortilla is alive for a few seconds, puffed with steam and small miracles. You tear it in half and tuck a piece into your pocket of memory for later. A radio crackles from somewhere. Bolero, then news, then an ad for vitamins promising energy like never before. You look at your tortilla and try not to be rude. Energy has looked like this for a very long time. Joke 3, you mentally pitch a competing ad. Try maize. Now with 9,000 plus years of user reviews. The market breeze approves. You drift past a stand selling mole by the ladleful, thick, glossy, aromatic with cacao and spice. The vendor tells you she makes it the slow way. Toast, grind, stir, argue with the pot, forgive it, stir again. You ask if mole is breakfast. She shrugs. If you're brave. You are, but your courage is currently full of tamal, so you settle for a taste. It's complex like a long story told by someone who remembers every detail and still finds new jokes halfway through. You cross a plaza where office workers balance paper cups of atole with precarious stacks of spreadsheets. One guy in a tie dunks a churro, another sneaks a bite of a torta stacked like ambition. You think about the old courtyards, the priestly fasts, the market gossip that somehow counted as prayer. The scenery has changed. The choreography hasn't. People still eat on the way to being useful. Still trade sweetness for bravery. Still bargain with the morning for a little extra time. A mural splashes color across a wall. Maize god crowned in husk and silk. Flanked by women grinding, men rowing, children laughing in a rain of blue tortillas. Someone has painted a modern touch, a paper cup labeled atole with latte art foam swirling into a hummingbird. You laugh out loud and a passerby grins like you're sharing a secret. Maybe you are. Mainstream fact returns for a bow. Cacao traveled to Europe and became the sweet chocolate that later returned to Mexico as a different accent, while atole stayed home, kept the porch light on, and learned a few cinnamon phrases. Both stories are true and both are breakfast. You sit on a low stone bench and unwrap a second tamale you swore you wouldn't buy. You did. A street dog stares with doctoral level focus. You break off a piece and offer it. He eats gently, then sits closer, clearly promoted to management. In the distance, a tamalero's horn toots, a reedy, comic little trumpet that means warmth is nearby. Once upon a time it was drums. Now it's a bicycle horn. Signal received. You finish your champurrado, swish the last thick sip around your mouth, and feel the centuries line up behind your teeth. You remember the courtyard songs, the metate rhythm, the hush of ritual fasts, the emperor's blue tortillas trembling like moonlight, the first bitter cacao that made you cough and then made you brave. You realize you've eaten this morning the way you ate then, with gratitude disguised as appetite. Someone beside you mutters, "Another Monday," and you almost tell them there are no ordinary Mondays when maize is involved, but you keep it to yourself and just watch the steam lift from the drum like pale ribbons of time. Before you stand, you press your palm to the bench and leave a faint print of masa and warmth. Not much of an offering maybe, but it's a signature. The city signs back with horns, footsteps, and one last whiff of corn. You whisper to the air, "We didn't forget." The air, flavored with chili and patience, whispers back, "We never will." The sun is barely up when you wake again, somewhere else entirely. You're not sure how many lifetimes have passed since Lake Texcoco shimmered beneath your feet, but the smell of corn finds you anyway. Soft, warm, insistent. The kitchen around you hums with quiet, kettle sighing, a pan clicking against flame, someone humming the kind of tune that survives centuries because nobody ever thought to write it down. You reach for a bowl. Steam lifts like memory, curling into the shape of morning. The first spoonful of atole tastes familiar, slightly sweet, slightly smoky, like the ghost of the old city has been living in your cupboard this whole time. You close your eyes and there they are, the women at their metats, the market's golden chaos, the priest whispering over thin gruel, the child running late to temple school, the emperor sipping power from a golden cup, and even the chronicler trying to rename what he didn't understand. They never left. They just learned new ways to stay. You step outside with your cup, letting the morning air touch your face. Traffic murmurs somewhere far off, but the rhythm underneath is the same. The eternal percussion of waking bodies chasing purpose, fueled by something warm. You take another sip and grin. "Still works," you whisper. Mainstream fact slips into your mind like a friend sliding into the booth. Maize remains one of the world's most important crops, feeding billions across continents. It jumped oceans, swapped languages, married sugar, chili, and cheese, but kept its heart intact. Humanity, in its best moments, does the same. A jogger passes with earbuds in, a baker unloads loaves from a van. A street vendor calls out about tamales just a block away. Modernity moves fast, but breakfast still slows time. You think about the Aztecs again, how they thanked the earth before they ate, how they believed every grain carried spirit. Maybe that's the trick the world keeps forgetting. Gratitude as seasoning. You break a piece of tortilla, hold it to the light, and whisper, "For you," to no one and everyone at once. The air tastes faintly of corn and coffee. A dog barks, a bus hisses, the city exhales. Quirky tidbit for the road. In some rural towns, people still drop a few crumbs of food on the ground before eating, saying, "Para los que ya se fueron," for those who've gone ahead. You try it now, scattering a few flakes from your tortilla onto the breeze. It feels right. The day stretches forward. The old rhythms blend with the new. Grinding stones replaced by blenders, clay cups by paper ones. But the heartbeat, the need for warmth, for nourishment, for connection, still drums beneath it all. You sip the last of your atole, thick and sweet at the bottom, and let the comfort linger. The sun climbs higher. Somewhere, another vendor opens her pot. Another child grabs a tortilla on the way to school. Another ancestor smiles quietly through the steam. You realize the story never really ended. It just changed flavors. You take a breath, slow and deep, and whisper your final thank you. To the maize, to the morning, to the millions of hands that kept both alive. The city answers in silence, which, as always, feels like understand. So that's where we'll leave it tonight, with the last sip of atole cooling in the cup and the faint hum of the world finding its rhythm again. Maybe you're still half awake, maybe already drifting, but listen, every ordinary morning you've ever had is a continuation of this same story. Someone, somewhere, is still grinding corn before dawn, still flipping tortillas that puff with quiet pride, still teaching a child to eat slowly because the day will hurry on its own. If you close your eyes, you can almost hear the scrape of stone on stone, smell the smoke rising from the hearth, feel the small miracle of warmth in your hands. That's the sound of continuity, the gentle proof that even when empires fall, kindness and breakfast endure. Let the images fade now, the lake, the markets, the laughter. Picture instead a single grain of maize, golden, weightless, turning slowly in the air. It lands in soil, and somewhere in your mind, you hear the promise it always carried. We begin again. Take one last breath. Let it out slowly. The air is thick with the scent of history, and it's soothing, not heavy. You've walked through centuries, tasted survival, and arrived safely back at your pillow. Sleep well, traveler. The sun will rise, the pot will simmer, and tomorrow's breakfast will already be waiting.